our first set of candles hardens, let's work on the second set. Take the wax out of your double boiler, wipe off the bottom. It's already scented. All we need to do is color. Using a wax chip is really simple. It's very concentrated. You don't need much. Taking a kitchen knife or a craft knife, gently, slowly shave away portions of the dye block. It starts to melt almost instantly on contact with the wax. And look at that. Isn't it incredible how concentrated that is? Stir it in completely. And then, again, freezer spoon trick. Put your spoon into the wax. How does this look? Looks pretty pink to me. This wouldn't be a very holiday looking candle. Let's add some more color. That's looking better. A fresh spoon. Much better. But you can see it didn't take much at all to make that a perfect holiday red. These wax dye blocks color at least 5 pounds of candles. That's a lot for one little tiny wax dye block. Gluing the wick down to the bottom with some melted wax first, center the wick. Now use the pencils to make sure the wick is stabilized. Let that harden for just a few minutes to make sure the wick stays firmly on the bottom of your candle container. Pour gently and slowly and evenly into your container. Pour only to the first lip. Now look, there's some left over. This is great in case I need to do another pour. You'll see more about that later. Let your red candles harden at least 30 minutes before capping and labeling. Before you burn these, let your candles sit for at least 12 to 24 hours. This allows the crystals in the wax to align so you get the most smooth, even finish. Checking back in with my green candles, I can see that there's some problems. I'm going to use a heat gun just to even this whole thing out. You'll notice there's still a little bit of bubbling. That's okay. You can either pop these bubbles as they rise with a needle, or you can keep heat gunning them. It's up to you. And it really depends on how persnickety you are with your details. See this? There's a little bit of white that I don't like. I'm going to use that leftover wax to try and get rid of that white. Pour evenly and smoothly around the candle until it coats the entire thing, hiding that small imperfection. Candle making is not a precise science. It's more of an art. There are so many different variables with the wicks, the wax, the fragrance, the color, the containers, the temperature. Wowzers! So here are some common problems you might experience. Look at these. Those are really big pits around my wicks. What in the world happened? I poured this way too hot. Some people like to pour their C3 wax all the way up to 160, and in fact, think that gives them the smoothest finish. These were poured above 180, which is definitely too hot in anyone's book. Don't worry, these candles aren't totally ruined. It's easy to fix them with a heat gun. This is looking really good. Do a little bit extra just to be on the safe side. You want all that wax to fill into that crevasse. You can move these now, but gotta warn you, this container is pretty gosh darn hot right now. Is this happening to your candles, this weird, strange, mottled look? It doesn't hurt the integrity of the candle. It'll still burn great. It just doesn't look quite perfect, does it? This is because the candle wax cooled too quickly. This can either be because the ambient temperature in the room was too cold, or because you poured the wax at too cool of a temperature. One quick and easy simple fix is to heat your containers to 100 all the way up to 120 before you pour your wax in there. Heating your containers up is very simple. Don't ever use the microwave to heat an empty container up. Instead, place your containers on a heat-safe baking pan, turn your oven onto the very lowest setting it can possibly go, and just stick your containers in there for 5 to 10 minutes, checking the temperature often. You don't want your containers to get above 120 degrees. Another common problem that can easily happen when you're using liquid colors especially is this. Ugh, that looks terrible, and it smells awful, like really bad. That's because the liquid candle colorants are so concentrated that they sometimes take on a really foul smell. The brown, the green, they don't smell that great. So you want to use them sparingly, or else your candle ends up looking kind of like this strange mottled thing and smells a little bit like paint thinner or turpentine. Not what you're going for. Now on these 3 candles, what could possibly be going on? Why does this look all strange and mottled and white in the middle? Again, this is a temperature issue. If these containers had been warmed up before pouring into them, they would have been fine. 1 pound of C3 Nature Wax made around 4 candle travel tins from brambleberry.com. Okay, that's totally not working. Why isn't it working? Because we poured this candle way too full. Ideally, you want the wick to just be flush with the top so that you can get the lid easily on, making it a travel candle. The finishing touch to make this an ideal stocking stuffer: packaging. I've designed some cute little labels for you. You can find them at brambleberry.com or soapqueen.com. Once you print these on a full sheet of label paper, all you need to do is cut them out where they show the little scissor marks. The trickiest part is just finding an edge so that you can easily peel the label off. Here you go. Place it perfectly on your tin lid. Cap your tin. Perfect candle. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Soap Queen TV. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have some great ideas for how to make perfect stocking stuffers. Until next time, happy soaping or candling. Notice that my double boiler is turned off. I don't actually need it to be on during this process. I just want it to be slightly warm enough to keep my Max welted.